Please be seated as we present to you our 2022 Veterans Day ceremony. This ceremony is brought to you by our Plum Air Force Junior ROTC, along with the Chamber Choir, who will be performing our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there.
Good morning, Plum students and faculty. Welcome to the 2022 Plum Senior High School Veterans Day ceremony. Thank you to the Color Guard for an amazing display of our nation's colors. Please welcome Dr. Hibner to the stage for a few words.
Good morning. To honor those who sacrificed themselves for the greater good, the United States of America deemed that November 11th of each year would be Veterans Day. This holiday coincides with Remembrance Day, which is comparable in other nations as Memorial Day. This celebrates the day an armistice was signed by the Allies of World War I in Germany. We are able to observe our own daily freedoms because we stand on the shoulders of giants who willingly made the ultimate sacrifice. Former President Woodrow Wilson stated a day after the armistice was signed that, quote, "To us in America, the reflections of Armistice Day will be filled with solemn pride in the heroism of those who died in the country's service, and with gratitude for the victory, both because of the thing from which it has freed us and because of the opportunity it has given America to show her sympathy with peace and justice in the councils of nations," end quote. As the granddaughter of 2 World War II veterans, the proud friend of a medically retired U.S. Navy SEAL officer, and the proud friend of a current Army major, as well as numerous reservists, this holiday is one that is especially important to me. It is because of the sacrifices of men and women of our armed forces that each of us can sit here today. As you observe this ceremony, I challenge you to reflect. How do you choose to honor those freedoms? How do you choose to honor those privileges? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hibner. Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Alec Elise and I, Cadet Major Allie Stegner, will be your Masters of Ceremonies. Today is a day of remembrance. We honor veterans of the military and those men and women of our armed forces who came together through centuries to fight for a common cause, the liberty we enjoy as a nation. They have defended America when our borders, our people, and our way of life were threatened. When others turned away, our veterans were willing to be called upon to put their boots on the ground of foreign lands and defend our freedom.
It is a foul question that our most potent weapon in war has always been in the men and women who served in our military. They volunteer to answer the nation's call to duty, to represent America's finest. Our veterans come from all walks of life and represent all religions, ethnic groups, races, and lifestyles. They put their lives on the line to support our nation.
After the Revolutionary War, President George Washington said, "We owe these veterans a debt of gratitude, indeed a debt of honor." On Veterans Day all over the nation, Americans gather together to remember and pay tribute to our veterans. It is a chance to thank those who selflessly answered the call to duty and to remember those who have served this nation from our very own communities. Use today to remember the generations of Americans who have sacrificed so you, your parents, and your loved ones can live freely. Take today to thank a veteran for what you have.
We live and work every day with those who have served our nation honorably and sacrificed so much. They may be teachers, staff, custodians, or transportation specialists. So this morning, we would like to honor them by reading their names. If you know them or see any of them in passing, please take a moment to thank them for their service. Veterans from our Plum Senior High School staff.
Kevin Butler, United States Air Force.
Chris Schell, United States Marine Corps.
Bob Davis, United States Navy.
Andy Delling, United States Navy.
Phil DiLeonardo, United States Navy.
Martin Griffith, United States Marine Corps.
Craig Harnish, United States Air Force.
Paul Nosek, United States Air Force.
Dan Twigg, United States Marine Corps.
Miss Grott's husband, United States Army. Plum AFGRTC will be performing 2 ceremonies that our service members respect and honor. The first ceremony will be the Prisoners of War Missing in Action ceremony. When we perform the ceremony, we honor those who are unable to be present with us this morning. This tradition of setting a separate table in honor of our prisoners of war and missing comrades has been in place since the end of the Vietnam War. According to the Defense POW MIA Accounting Agency, there are over 83,000 service members still missing. The second ceremony would be a flag folding ceremony.
Throughout our history, Americans have marched, sailed, and flown off to defend our ideals. Many have never returned. There have been a total of 608,729 prisoners of war and those missing in action. Our Air Force Junior ROTC Honor Guard, led by Cadet Major Shaylin Stitt, will honor them by performing the Prisoner of War and Missing in Action ceremony. This ceremony will be narrated by Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Alec Elise.
Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the table at the right of the stage. You may now see the table set before you. It is filled with symbolism. I will explain the symbols and their meanings. This table is set for our prisoners of war and those missing in action from all wars. They are not with us today. Their chairs are empty, but saved for their hoped return. Let us remember their absence. Let us remember the United States Air Force, honored by Cadet Major Shaylin Stitt. Let us remember the United States Army, honored by Cadet Major Carissa Smouse. Let us remember the United States Navy, honored by Cadet Second Lieutenant Kayla McKenna. Let us remember the United States Marine Corps, honored by Cadet Chief Master Sergeant Bryn McAlevey. Let us remember the men and women, prisoners of war from all branches of service that are too often forgotten. Let us remember them. The tablecloth is white, symbolizing the purity of their intentions to respond to their country's call to arms, so that their children could remain free. Remember. The lone candle. Symbolizes the frailty of a prisoner alone, trying to stand up against his oppressors in a foreign land. Remember. The black ribbon on the candle reminds us of those who will not be coming home. Remember. The single rose reminds us of the life these Americans brought to the table and the families of our comrades in arms who keep the faith and await their return. Remember. A slice of lemon. As on the bread plate to remind us of their bitter fate if we do not bring them home. Remember. There is salt on the plate. Symbolic of the countless tears families have shed as they wait and remember. The glasses. Are inverted. For they cannot toast with us tonight, maybe tomorrow, if we remember. The red, white, and blue ribbon is tied to the flower vase by a yellow ribbon that was worn by thousands who awaited their return. Remember. The faded picture on the table. Is a reminder that they are missed very much and are remembered by their families. Remember. As we look upon this empty table, do not remember ghosts from the past. Remember our comrades. Remember those whom we depend on in battle. They depend on us to bring them home. Remember our friends. They are the ones we love, who love life and freedom as we do. They will remember what we do. Please honor and remember them. As Cadet Major Shaylin Stitt extinguishes this candle, let us transfer its flame into our hearts. And remember.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear. To support and defend. The Constitution of the United States. Against all enemies. Foreign and domestic. And to bear true faith. And allegiance to the same. That I will obey. The orders of. The President of the United States. And the orders of. Those officers appointed over me according to regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God.
We celebrate Veterans Day on the anniversary of the armistice that ended World War I. The armistice that began on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. The timing of this holiday is quite deliberate in terms of historical fact. But somehow it always seems quite fitting to me that this day comes deep in autumn, when the colors are muted and the days seem to invite contemplation. It is, in a way, an odd thing to honor those who died in defense of our country, in defense of us, in wars far away. The imagination plays a trick. We see these soldiers in our mind as old and wise, but most of them were boys when they died, and they gave up two lives, the one they were living and the one they would have lived. When they died, they gave up their chance to be husbands and fathers and grandfathers. They gave up their chance to be revered old men. They gave up everything for our country, for us. And all we can do is remember. I will not fail thee, nor forsake thee. In memory of those who gave the last full measure of devotion, may our efforts to achieve lasting peace gain strength. Let us make a vow to our dead. Let us show them by our actions that we understand what they died for. Strengthened by their courage, heartened by their value, and borne by their memory, let us continue to stand for the ideals for which they lived and died.
In the long history of the world, only a few generations have been granted the role of defending freedom in its hour of maximum danger. I do not shrink from this responsibility. I welcome it. I do not believe that any of us would exchange places with any other people or any other generation. The energy, the faith, the devotion which we bring to this endeavor will light our country and all who serve it. We shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, oppose any foe to assure the survival and the success of liberty.
The American flag is a symbol of freedom as well as a source of pride and inspiration for millions of Americans. It is the silent sentinel of freedom for the greatest sovereign nation on earth, the United States of America.
Born on June 17, 1777, the Second Continental Congress determined that the flag of the United States be 13 stripes, alternating between 7 red and 6 white, and that the Union be 13 stars, white in a field of blue, representing a new constellation. Between 1777 and 1960, the shape and design of the flag evolved into the one before you today. The 13 horizontal stripes represent the original 13 colonies, while the stars represent the 50 states of the Union.
Our flag is flown high with pride. We honor it, respect it, and defend it with our lives. We never let our enemies tear it down from its lofty position, lest it never return. Every day we keep alight the fires of patriotism, striving earnestly for the spirit of democracy, keeping our flags a symbol of freedom, liberty, and peace in our country and around the world.
Fold 1. The 13 stripes represent the original 13 states: Delaware, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Georgia, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Maryland, South Carolina, New Hampshire, Virginia, New York, North Carolina, and Rhode Island.
Fold 2. The 50 stars represent our 50 United States of America.
Fold 3. I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death. Patrick Henry.
Fold 4. These are the times that try men's souls. The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will, in the crisis, shrink from the service of their country. But he that stands it now deserves the love and thanks of man and woman. Thomas Paine.
Fold 5. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. They are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Declaration of Independence.
Fold 6. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution of the United States of America. United States Constitution.
Fold 7. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of people peaceably to assemble, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. First Amendment.
Fold 8. The basis of our political system is the right of the people to make and alter their constitutions of government. George Washington.
Fold 9. My God, how little do my countrymen know what precious blessings they are in possession of, and which no other people on earth enjoy. Thomas Jefferson.
Fold 10. fourscore and 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty, and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Abraham Lincoln.
Fold 11. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. Emma Lazarus, inscription on the Statue of Liberty.
Fold 12. Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. John Fitzgerald Kennedy.
Fold 13. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Martin Luther King, Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the conclusion of our Veterans Day ceremony. As you walk out of here today, may you remember the thousands of men and women who sacrificed their lives for our country, who do not see our flag as just a piece of red, white, and blue cloth. The countless lives that died in battle for our freedom to help make this country what it is today. Let us remember the brave, selfless, and most of all, let us remember our heroes. Remember,